My name is Jim Buell. I'm with FleetNet America, and I'm here today to talk to you about ideas to help you reduce your maintenance cost by using data. Now, maintenance cost is not your largest cost, but it is about 10% of your total budget spend. Now, when I talk with fleets across the country, many equate maintenance expense to death and taxes. It just happens, I have to pay for it. I mean, you're going to fix the truck, right, if it breaks down? I submit to you that you can reduce your maintenance expense, particularly if you focus on your unscheduled roadside repairs. Now, there's two very good reasons to do that. First of all, repairing something on the side of the road costs you 4 times as much as it does to repair the same component in your shop. Secondly, if you understand why things are breaking down, you get a pretty good idea of what's going on inside of your shop. It's a surrogate of what your operation looks like. Now, FleetNet America is the largest provider of roadside repairs. We handle, depending on the year, up to 400,000 maintenance events. About 300,000 of those are unscheduled roadside repairs. And we've analyzed this data and came up with a very interesting conclusion. We discovered that a precious few fleets were having significantly fewer maintenance repairs than similar-sized fleets with similar utilization. So my conclusion in that is that most fleets in America are having more repairs than they should. Most fleets in America are spending more money on maintenance than they should. And it says most fleets in America are having more customer service issues than they should. Well, why? So I went out and I talked to some of the fleets that were best in class. And when I looked at their operation, I discovered their maintenance practices were pretty similar to the other fleets. Basically, everyone's using the same kind of tools to get the job done. But the fleets that had fewer roadside repairs had two things that the other fleets didn't. First, they had information. But most importantly, they had the time to analyze the data to understand what it meant. And of all the opportunities up here, the tools, the information, or the time, the most valuable commodity there is time, because we only have 168 hours in the week. But I'm going to share with you an idea that will help you reach a conclusion very quickly, and that's through the use of norms. And I'm going to use sports as an analogy. Do anybody here like college football? I love college football. On Saturday morning, or Saturday afternoon, you're going to catch me watching 2, maybe 3 games of college football. Now, I'm going to share with you 2 norms, just 2 simple norms from 2 teams. And in a matter of seconds, you're going to tell me which team is going to win. Team A, they have 6.9 offensive yards per touch. So every time they touch the ball, they get on average 6.9 yards. And on the defensive side of the ball, they hold their opponent to 0.3 touchdowns per game. Now, by itself, it doesn't tell you anything. But when you compare it to Team B, they also are positive. They have 4.9 offensive yards per touch, and they hold their opponent to 2.3 touchdowns per game. Now, by a show of hands, how many of you think Team A will win if these 2 teams play? Raise your hand. How many think that Team B will win? Nobody. Well, you know, you guys are absolutely right. You guys are good at this. You guys should be on ESPN. Because in a matter of seconds, you were able to predict that the University of Alabama would beat University of North Carolina Charlotte if they were to play each other. And you did that by using normative data. I'm going to suggest to you today a new maintenance norm to help you pull cost out of your fleet operation. Miles between breakdowns. As an example, what if you're running 50,000 miles between a breakdown today? But if you knew that last year you were running 75,000 miles between a breakdown, this means you're breaking down more often now. What this tells you is you're probably spending 1/3 more in maintenance than you were a year ago. It also is a very good indication that you have 1/3 more customer service issues than you had a year ago because you got more trucks on the side of the road. Now, luckily, our industry has a tool that helps us use this miles between breakdown to become a powerful analytic tool. And that is Vehicle Maintenance Reporting Standards, or VMRS. Every component on a truck has a number. When you have a number, it allows you to put it into a database. And once you get into a database, you can begin to use it. And let me give you an example of this. This is a tool that FleetNet America uses with our customers where we have the data that we can provide meaningful conclusions. It shares with you 2 calendar year periods. And as you can see, in period 1, we're running 95 million miles. In period 2, which is calendar year 2016, we're running 90.6 million miles. And in calendar year 2015, we're running 60,000 miles between a breakdown. But in the current year, we're running 51,000 miles between breakdowns. That means we've gotten 14% worse. Well, what would you want to know if you're the leader of this company? You want to know why, right? You find that cab and sheet metal got 46% worse. What would cause that? Well, VMRS allows you to dig into this a little bit deeper, and you can go down to from the system level to the assembly level. And in this case, we've pivoted from miles between breakdown to dollars spent. And this fleet has had an increase of $21,000 in cab and sheet metal. And most of that came from what? Mirrors. Wait a minute. Mirrors? You're spending $13,000 more on mirrors? What goes with that? Well, again, once you get data into a system, you can begin to dig even deeper. You can dig into make, and you can dig into model, and you can dig into location. In this case, the story ended at location. Because remember, the cab and sheet metal cost increased $21,000, and look what happened in Charlotte. In Charlotte, the cost went up $12,000. In fact, they were spending $17,000 in cab and sheet metal in 2016. And now the data ends there. The final solution, the final why, what the issue was, came from actually inspecting what was going on in Charlotte. And do you know what they discovered? They discovered that a tree, yes, a tree, had grown up and out into the street, and the trucks coming in were clipping the tree again and again and again. And I submit to you that it wasn't in just this year, the $17,000 year, but it was probably started happening the year before when they spent $4,800 there. That tree had grown up. Now, I don't know what a pole saw costs, but I'm going to guess it's less than $17,000. And all you got to do is go cut limbs off that tree, and you can put some money to your bottom line. Data can send you in the right direction to make the right conclusion just to help you pull some cost out of your system. And there are options to compare. What we've just done is a comparison of the same fleet year over year. Now, warning, you've got to have a full year's worth of data. Now, if you're a large enough fleet and you've got multiple locations, you can compare your multiple locations, and you can begin doing that at any time. But I think the most powerful, the best way to get a comparison is to compare yourself against other peers in your industry. And I'm very pleased to announce today that FleetNet is partnering with the Technology Maintenance Council, TMC, and we are conducting peer-to-peer benchmarking for specific verticals and comparing fleets in those verticals so they can see how they stack up not only against themselves but against other fleets within the business. So in conclusion, most trucking companies in America are having more breakdowns than they should. They're spending more on maintenance than they should. They're having more customer service issues than they should. Data. Data is a wonderful tool that you can use to quickly identify areas for you to pull cost out of your system. And the TMC FleetNet benchmarking program is a great way to do that. And if you're interested in that, please go to TMC's website, go to FleetNet's website, or contact a FleetNet representative. We would love to tell you more about that. Thank you very much.